depression, anxiety, misery, you name it. It's made of all conditions because we're being very transparent whenever we speak. We're being very transparent whenever we put our stories out. There's no reason why we should, hold back or, remember, we're all about helping others heal, right? We're here to help each other heal. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Once again, it's not only about us. So we appreciate everyone in the past who has joined the live to put their testimony out. There's been like amazing stories, amazing experiences that if we were to talk about it, no one's going to believe it, right? Unless they hear it from the person. Even my own stories, right? My testimonies that I've put out, it's been major for other people. The DMs that we've received, the DMs of people being so thankful and grateful for all the discussions that are taking place, which is what we need more of. On social media, we come across it all, right? Comedy, violence, inspiration, motivation, we come across. But there's not too many. Now it's starting to come about, but there hasn't been much on mental health, which is the most important thing. If you go on social media, you see everything that's taking place. Oh, this person's living a good life. This person's rich. This person owns 2 cars. They got 3 homes, 5, right? There are real stories out there, but then you also have others who are just putting up a front, who are not being honest. There's people out there selling you courses, but they work exactly how most of us do, right? You never know who's who on social media. And I feel like transparency, honesty, and just being pure and being full of good intention and not taking advantage of other people is what we should be basically focused on, right? We're not here to take advantage of you. We're not here to sell you a course, to sell you a dream. We're here to help. We're here forming a community where people are actually helping each other various ways. If that's through a job, if someone's looking for work, I'm hoping that through our network, through our platform, you're able to meet people, whether it's through the chat, whether it's through the solution-based community that I have on my profile, which that's another thing. Check that out. I have the solution-based community where daily or every few days, I'm just putting out positive messages to make sure that I keep you going. Make sure that we keep each other going, because anything that I come across or anything that I'm feeling or anything that I think of that day, I'm going to put it in that community. I'm going to put it in that chat, in that broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in that channel because our main focus is to help each other move forward. We all go through situations. I don't care what your status is. We all go through situations, and we do have the people that we go to for advice. We have the people that we go to discuss. We have the people that we go to seek help. We have people that we go to for various reasons. We have people that we go to. There's people that come to us whenever they need us. So with that said, it's all about meeting new people, reevaluating your circle, changing the way you think, changing your perspective, changing those type of conversations that you're having on a daily basis, changing the thought process, the way that you think, replacing negative thoughts with positive. It's a lot that's taking place on this platform. There's a lot that we're promoting. There's a lot that we're getting done in the scene and behind the scenes, right? And slowly, we're working on growing. We're working on improvements ourselves, right? We're working on doing so much than just this virtually. Thank God for technology. Thank God for being able to reach so many people through our platform, through the Instagram, through Facebook, through YouTube, through all platforms that we're streaming from. It's major because we can do it from wherever we're at. Remember, there was one point in time where everything was physical. It was at a physical location. But now we're able to do it, to reach miles away, to reach other countries, to reach other states, both domestic, internationally. It's amazing what's taking place. It's amazing how we are able to work with technology, to partner with technology, to be able to give these good messages. And no matter what we got going on, we make sure that we're on every Thursday. So make sure you stay connected with us every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. So I want to go ahead and thank everyone for being with us, for connecting with us, for those who are watching us on Instagram, for those who are watching us on Facebook, for those who are watching us on YouTube. Here we are making it happen. We are here for episode 67. For those who are new, who are watching us for the first time, we discuss multiple topics, multiple life experiences, testimonies. We put a lot out here on this platform. We're very transparent. We put out all the pain, the success. We put it out. We put it all out. We're not covering certain things. We discuss it all because it's most important for us to keep each other above water, right? For those who, in this life, we are either sinkers or swimmers, right? And we're trying to make sure that everyone's a swimmer because we cannot hear about any story of anyone sinking. You can't give in. You can't give up. You can't just stop what you're doing all because of whatever you're going through, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever someone is putting you through, whatever something might be putting you through. We're here to help each other overcome. We're here to help each other get through that obstacle. We're here to just continue to grow, right? Remember, we're taking this walk in life in our journey, and it's not an easy path. It's not an easy path. It's going to be very difficult at times. It's going to be difficult, and it's something that we have no control over. It's something that we definitely don't have any control over. But what we do have control over is our emotions, how we react, how we respond, how we behave, right? Because again, it's not going to be easy, but you have to find a way, and giving your attention to the problem is not going to be it. So the problem is going to be there, but make sure you focus on the solution. Once again, big shout outs to the solution-based community. Make sure you click on that link on my bio and join the community. Make sure that you click on the notifications for every live that we have every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to click. You'll get the option to get notified 2 days before, the day before, and the day of for the live. All right, so we're about to get started. Let me go ahead and get Pastor Carlos connected here with us. See, he sent. Big shout outs to everyone on Instagram. Shout outs to everyone on YouTube. Big shout outs to everyone on Facebook watching us, for taking the time to watch us. You can be doing so many other things, chores, right? You can be washing dishes. Hopefully you cook for yourself or your family. You can be doing so much, but the fact that you're taking time to sit and listen, it means so much to us. For real. It really does mean a lot. So welcome everyone to episode 67. Episode 67. And today I want to go ahead and talk about, since we started talking about our journey, our life, and things that happen that we don't have control over, I want to go ahead and talk about suffering. Suffering, right? We are here in this life, and there's going to be great moments, and there will also be bad moments, and we have to cherish both, right? We have to appreciate both. We have to accept both, which is the most important thing. Suffering is inevitable. We have to go through it when it presents itself. We have to face it, right? There's a lot of people that don't want to face any sufferings, any difficulties, and you have to understand, life is not always going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be dealing with a lot of unnecessary stuff. You're going to be dealing with a lot of issues, whether it's coming from someone else or whether it's coming from something. That can be from an environment, that can be from a substance, that can be from just in general, outside of a person, outside of an individual. There's going to be sufferings that we're going to go through that we have no control over, which is what is called unchosen suffering. Unchosen suffering is a result of not your decision, right? It's not in your conscience. It's something that happens. It can be something you have no control over, a behavior of someone towards you. It can be an earthquake, it can be an illness, it can be a condition, it can be various things that we don't have control over, right? That's unchosen suffering. Now, chosen suffering is what results from our decision making, right? Where are things that happen after, it's the aftermath, it's the result after a decision we've made, right? We're not perfect.
right? We all have flaws. We've all made mistakes, but best believe that chosen suffering and unchosen suffering, they will come about in your life eventually. Now, what do? With the unchosen suffering? We don't have control over it, right? There's nothing that we can do. But what do we have control over? Is how can we fix this? How can I cope or manage? What is it that I have to control? My emotions. What should I be thinking? What should I be doing to get through this stage, through this phase? What is it that I have to look through? What should I read? What who can I go to speak? Who can I seek help from? Right? Because you can't seek help from just anyone at times, right? Not everyone's going to be able to help you in all areas of your life. There's people in your life right now that are actually assigned to specific areas of your life. You have the people that you might have people that you, a best friend or a family member that you can go and speak anything about, whether it's fun, whether it's serious, whether it's not, whatever it is, you have that person. But you have other people who are in your life that may just be good to get together and disconnect and have fun, enjoy yourself, have specific conversations, but not just any conversations, right? Let's just say if you have a friend, a really good friend, and you choose to speak about an issue that you're having in life, and then you finally realize, wait, you know what? This is not helping me out. Who should I speak to someone with experience? Should I speak to someone who has gone through this? Should I go seek a therapist instead of my best friend or an associate? You have to be very selective and very careful with who you go to speak on certain topics because not everybody is able to help you in all areas of your life. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth, and you must accept.
Connected with us, we're having issues with connecting him. All right. So there we go with suffering. So we all know now both unchosen and chosen suffering. Unchosen suffering, like I said before, refers to any type of pain, difficulty, or hardship that is not the result of a conscious choice or decision made by an individual. Like I mentioned before, the examples are natural disasters, right? Like earthquakes, hurricanes, right? That brings a lot of distress, a lot of stress. Sometimes it can be financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. If you get hurt, right? If your home is destroyed, that does destroy your finances, right? It does affect your finances. Better said. Illnesses, diseases, as I mentioned before, accidents, injuries. Sometimes are things that we don't have any control over. So we have to push through no matter what's going on. A lot of people tend to give up. How many people do you know that go through so much pressure, so much pain, and they don't make it through? You hear about stories where people committed suicide. You hear about stories about people not being able to get through a problem. You're hearing about stories about people becoming alcoholics, drug addicts, because of past issues, past events. You hear about so many stories, but then you also hear about stories where people were able to break through. They were able to overcome that stage, that phase, that dark place that they were in, right? Who do you want to be in this? You want to be the person giving up or the person making it through, the person growing through these situations, right? Learning as you go and grow, because that's the whole point. You're going to gain so much strength. You're going to gain so much knowledge. You're going to learn so much from these lessons. The whole point is to accept, embrace exactly what you're feeling. Embrace what you're feeling in this moment. If you're suffering, whether it's unchosen or chosen, if you're suffering, you have to know how to accept, embrace it, and focus on getting through. Focus on getting through. How many stories you've heard of people giving up, you know? And I've been in situations where I've given up on me. I've given up on me, and it's caused so many delays in my life. It's caused me to have poor relationships with people, going after the wrong people, me having the right people in my life, but not treating them well because of whatever I was going through in that moment, not being able to give my full potential, to be myself, to be me, because of what I was currently feeling at that moment in my life, in that stage, at that age. Is so much that takes place, and we have to be aware of these things. Not everybody would be able to admit, not everybody would be willing to accept. And that's where we have the big problem here. That's where we have the big problem. And I'm hoping that everyone is listening, because this can help, especially our youth. We are grown adults. We are grown, but the people who are coming up, who are supposed to be listening to this type of advice, can avoid so much and know and learn so much from our own testimony, from these topics that are being discussed. Because remember, how did you feel about the problems that you've gone through, the suffering? You were afraid to go to speak to someone because it was a sign of weakness, or you were afraid to go speak to someone because you were probably ashamed, or you were afraid to speak to someone about it. And you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be afraid. Suffering is going to happen no matter what. The main thing that you should know is that, how am I going to get through? What is it that I have to do to get through? The main thing is to admit, accept, and get through with it. Go towards the storm. Whenever you're going through your worst moments, go through the storm. Don't run away from it. Go straight through, because you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of pressure happening in those moments. You're going to feel so much pain, so much suffering, so much confusion. You're going to be confused. You're going to be so weak in those moments. But just think about how strong you're going to come out from that situation. Think about how you're going to be feeling after that storm hits, because you chose to face it, to face your fears. You chose to face your suffering. You chose to face that dark place that you're in, because you know very well you have what it takes to get through. What you think is going to come after? The calm. The calm. And just think about the abilities that you'll have once you get that through that one storm. And there's going to be multiple storms in your life, and you never know how it's going to come about. You never know how it's going to happen. You're never going to know how you're going to get through it. You can only prepare yourself ahead of time, mentally, emotionally. But the solutions is going to be when, right there, when you have that obstacle right in front of you. That's when you're going to know what to do. There's going to be many obstacles and problems that you've seen it happen before. You've gone through it before, and you know exactly how to get through. But there's going to be many others where you're going to have to figure it out. And of course, if you can't figure it out on your own, pray on it. And if you're praying, God is going to put the right people in your life to get you through. You will gain the strength to get through. You will be able to make it happen, regardless of whatever it is that's happening in or outside of you. Jessica, what's going on? Says, what's up? Jael says, what's up? I see a few people are connecting now. There's no victory if there's no battlefield. That's right. I love that. There's no victory if there's no battlefield. How can you experience wins and losses? How can you experience wins and losses if you don't go through it? Right? You think that by having a perfect life and not going through it and not stressing and just life being so perfect where you don't have to go through much or struggle, but what is there to learn from those moments? What are you gaining from those moments? You won't know what your value is. You won't know how valuable this moment, this stage of your life is, right? There's a lot of things that we're grateful for because of where we're not, where we're no longer are, right? Where we used to be before used to be a terrible place. We used to be depressed. We were we were anxious, full of anxiety. We were going through so much in the past, but look at us now that we made it through. We're able to help others. We're able to speak on it. We're able to let other people know, no, you're going to get through this. This is just temporary. There's a lot of moments we've had in the past that felt permanent. Is this what our life is going to be? Is this what this situation is going to be? Am I not going to get through this? And look at us, we got through. Anything we come across, we're getting through. Any obstacles that come our way, we breaking through. We're breaking through. That's exactly what we're doing. We're just going to break right through. The reason why I chose suffering this week is because we tend to suffer, whether it's at a minimum or all the way up to the max. We tend to suffer. Some on a daily basis, some weekly, some monthly, some yearly, Some have seasons of success and then one major season of suffering, of failures. But I'm here to tell you, embrace, admit, accept what you're feeling, accept the stage that you're in, accept the season that you're in right now. Accept it, because by accepting it, you're going to let yourself feel all the emotions you're feeling, everything that you're going through mentally, emotionally, and you're going to gain the strength to push right through, to push right through. I'm loving that line. There's no victory if there's no battlefield. There are unchosen suffering and chosen suffering. Once again, unchosen suffering is what we don't have control over, and chosen suffering is what we do have control over. Unchosen suffering is going to happen in our life regardless. More examples of that is our loved ones passing away. We don't ever want that to happen, but that's life. Our loved ones are going to pass. We are going to pass. Our bodies will eventually fail us. Relationships are going to break down. We will become sick, ill. Many things are going to happen that we don't have control over. That example of our loved one passing away, we want our parents, our guardians to be eternal. We don't want to experience that type of loss. I'm sure there's many of us who have already, and it's tough. We already have enough going on a daily basis. There's so much that we're going through on a daily basis. And when these events pop in our life, they come up, it's like, really? Like right now? This had to happen now? And it's like, we never know when things are going to happen. We never know. All we can do is remain strong, remain focused, remain ready for whatever's coming. Ready to embrace whatever happens in our life, whether it's to us directly or to someone else. We have to feel. There's a lot of selfish people out there that love to watch other people suffer. Some people love to make others suffer, to watch other people suffer because they made them suffer in the past, and it's not right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because someone made you suffer doesn't mean that they deserve to suffer. Pray for them. Pray for them. Because you never know. Remember, you are one. You have family. You have sisters. You have brothers. You will have children, or eventually you will have children. Eventually you'll have children. And you don't want that treatment or those intentions to come towards your family, towards your friends. There's no reason why anyone should suffer. But we have no choice. It's going to happen. But when we want someone to suffer, when we are the cause of that person's suffering, it's not right at all. I mean, I'm hoping that everyone can agree with me, no matter what has happened. And I'm telling you right now, I've been one that things have happened to me in my life where people wanted to take me down. They went straight for the throat. They went straight for the kill. And I got to thank God for the heart he gave me. Let me start off by saying that. I got to thank God for those moments, because not only did it show the strength and the potential that I have in me, but it shows me who I am no matter what happens to me. Can you say, I want you to say the same thing, no matter what you got going on in your life, no matter what what attack someone brings on you, the attacks that come your way, don't change who you are. Don't change your heart. Don't become cold. Stay warm. Stay full of love, care. You have to, because we are already living in a chaotic world. We're living in a world where very few of us and these mindsets exist. And they're out there. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm not saying you're the only one. They're out there, but it's hard to come across on a daily basis. come across more evil than you do good on a daily basis. You come across more attacks and possible failures than you do success on a daily basis, which is why you have to stay focused. You come across the unnecessary more than what would actually be necessary to help you heal and move forward and grow. There's a lot of things out there that's ready to destroy you. That can be a person, place, or thing, and you got to be careful with 3. Where are you hanging out? Who are you talking to? Who are you connected with? What are you consuming? We're not only talking about beverages, substances. What are you consuming outside of that? What books are you reading? What content are you coming across? What music are you listening to? What are you doing to cope? What is your method of relief? What is your method for relief? Is it a glass of wine? Is it hurting someone else because you're hurting? Is it being selfish because others have been selfish to you? Is it being mean because that's all you've experienced all along? Being evil, unfair, becoming who you once hated, becoming what you're feeling. Suffering. That's the topic for this week. Let me see if we can get Pastor Carlos on. Again, I did get the request. Suffering. That's exactly what we're discussing this week. Big bro, what's going on, man? We had
Nothing much, bro.
issues, man. We had a few. I'm over here thinking my AirPods are connected. I hope everybody got the message, man. I just realized. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you were crystal clear. You were crystal
all right,
clear.
good.
Yeah.
Because I'm just
Yeah.
ready
Instagram just being funny, not wanting to let me on. It was weird.
That happened.
Like I would send the request to you, and it would tell me like, nah, can't do it.
Yeah.
But that won't stop anything.
But as I was mentioning before, suffering. There's no way around it. The only way is to get straight through it, facing it, feeling it, facing it, feeling it, and facing it. It's the way. It's the only way. There's no reason to disregard it, no reason to set it aside, to give it the attention tomorrow. Give it the attention it needs on a daily basis till it's gone, because it will be gone. Eventually, you gain a lot of wisdom from suffering, a lot of experience, but the strength is the major part. The strength is what's going to get you through it, and what's going to get you through any future sufferings, future obstacles, right? Which is why I mentioned the unchosen and chosen suffering. How are we supposed to get well prepared for the unchosen suffering? And if you think about it, it's through the chosen suffering. What are we learning from what we're suffering from? What are we learning from this? Even if someone who's ill, if you speak to someone who's ill, who's been diagnosed with a condition or diagnosed with a disease, one thing that they'll tell you is live your life. Don't stress the little things. I used to stress, and they'll give you the whole list. And look at me now suffering with this disease. And now I don't care about everything that I was worrying about before. What I care about is my health, and that I'm still able to be here for everything that I got going on and my family. Just think about those problems that you're having right now. Are they really major problems? Because for everyone it's different, right? We all have different experiences. We all have gone through different situations. We're all in different stages, right? Different levels. And I'm not talking about status. When I say levels, it's like I've gone through certain things that you might have not gone through, or vice versa. So we all are on different we all have different capacity, as I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago. We're on different levels. But you got to prepare yourself because it's going to happen anyway. What we do have control over is our emotions, mindset, and perspective. And even then, some are at risk not having the ability to cope or manage some or all mentioned previously. Just know that you have control over your emotions, your perspective, and mindset. In the moment, it may seem like it's impossible to heal from this. It's impossible to get through this. But that's what the attack is making you feel in the moment. The lie that you're being told in that mental battle, in that mental prison you may be in. There's solutions for everything. For everything. Even for those diseases that they say there's no cure for them. So because there's no cure, you're going to choose to suffer and be miserable? Or in fact, you're going to go ahead and switch your mindset, the way you saw life, the things that you did on a daily basis, and start appreciating the time that you have here. Start appreciating that you're still here and that disease didn't take you instantly. The fact that you're still able to function, able to move, able to speak, and even for some who are limited, look for that one thing or multiple things that you're grateful for, despite of whatever you got going on, which was part of last week's episode. Practice gratitude, no matter what. If you're going through financial issues, through debt, are you going to be miserable? Are you just going to be miserable and thinking about the debt and not cracking a smile on a daily basis because of that debt? Or are you going to sacrifice, work hard, but also make sure that you give yourself and your family the quality time needed to live somewhat in peace, to promote peace, promote stability, no matter what you got going on. You don't want your family, your household to feel your pain, to feel what you're going through in the moment, which is temporary. What is it that you're going to learn from this situation to make it better moving forward? I got to make better decisions when it comes to spending my expenses, create budgets. If you're going through a breakup, for some they may be the cause. For some, they're the one hurting because someone made them suffer due to adultery, cheating, whatever the case is. But are you going to live with misery on a daily basis because of what you're going through and make others feel what you're going through? Or are you going to look at the bright side of it? Are you going to look at the good things in life? Okay, you know what? I'm heartbroken, but I'm not dead. My heart was broken, but I'm still here breathing, and I'm still able to provide for my family. I'm still able to provide for myself. The trust I had to others were taken away from me, but not my home, not the food on my table, not the health that I have today. Think about it that way. You got to be very careful when you're in a suffering stage, whether it's unchosen or chosen, because in your suffering, there's a lot that can be stripped away from you. So there's a lot that can be stripped away. Let's just say if it's a natural disaster, an earthquake, that can be your home, that can be your vehicle. But also think about people. That can be your life. That can be your peace. Anything can be stripped away at any moment, and it's going to be the way you least expect that is going to happen. But it's all about how you are seeing your life in the moment, despite of what just happened. You're gaining so much strength. Should be focusing on faith, believing in you, believing in that you're going to break through whatever situation. I hope I'm not causing any confusion, because I'm just throwing different scenarios in here, different examples, because I feel like this fits all areas of our lives. And once again, we're all suffering from something, whether it's major or minor, and only you know what that is. And if others know, it's because you've expressed it with no shame, with no fear. We all suffer, but we should all break through, and we will all break through. And this is the type of conversations that we need in order to help each other, pick each other up, motivate each other, inspire each other, no matter what. Are you going to help others only when when things are going great in your life? Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you're able to help other people, whether your life is going super great or not, that's when you really know what you're made of. That's when you really know what you're made of. There's a lot of people out there that can only function when things are going great, because what they're speaking on may be true, or it may be something that they're just covering up. But you should be able to help no matter what you got going on. You got to be able to plant seeds no matter what. Not only when things are great, because you just never know when someone will ever need you the most. Jael said, my physical suffering, pain, which affects my mobility, produces a different level of faith. I am not healed, yet God still uses me as a vessel to heal others. I'm telling you, we're all aligned right now, man. It's crazy. I have joy in my heart for their healing. And you gotta be. There's people out there that won't even be happy for your success or happy for the stage that you're currently in your life, because they're full of misery. They're miserable. They're only happy for others when they're happy with themselves. But when they're full of anger, grudge, envy, jealousy, and so much more, that's exactly what they're going to project. That's exactly what they're going to bring upon others. That's the vibe and energy that you're going to receive from that person. And I'm here to tell you, stay away from those people. Stay away, because you don't need that. You don't know what they're sending your way. You don't know what they're trying to put in you. You don't know what they're trying to bring in your home. You really don't know. You really don't know. There's people out there even seeking relationships only because of how they're feeling. Lonely. There's people out there seeking relationships because their ex found someone else, so now they want to find someone, and it becomes a little battle. Like, hey, you got someone? Look at me. Now I have someone. There's people out there comparing themselves to each other when it comes to work, position, title, status, material, liabilities. There's people out there that own cars only because of what others are going to say or think about them. There's other people out there who have these apartments only because of what other people are going to think or say about them. about that. Think about those people you knew or know. Very few are out there who are willing to tell the truth, who are willing to be very transparent. Then you have others who are living in studio apartments because they have a major goal, much greater than whatever their current situation is, or whatever point of their life they're in right now is much greater. They're in sacrifice mode. Now I gotta fix my life up. I gotta get to these investments. I gotta make sure that, when the right person comes into my life, that I have the stability. That way we can all be stable. I gotta find the right person that can help me and I can help them. People that are sacrificing so much because they're not only thinking about their future, but they're thinking about the future that they're eventually gonna create with someone else. Good intentions overall. But when you live in a world of people pretending, of people playing games, it does bring a lot of suffering, more than what life already has for you in store, because suffering is going to happen no matter what. Just think about how fragile you would be if it wasn't for the lessons you learned through suffering. Think about how much strength you've gained through your suffering, your struggles, your hardship. How much strength. Look at who you've become today based on your suffering. Some people can say much better, and others may say for the worst. But it's never too late to turn things around and change and make not only your life different, but for others as well. That can be through your behavior. That can be through actions, apologies, forgiveness, awareness in general. Not many get through this kind of pressure. Not many survive the suffering, the stressful events, the stressful moments. Not many do. It's time to get well prepared for what's coming. It's time to get well prepared for what's going to happen in your life. Because life is happening. Life is definitely happening. Whether you're here or not, life will continue to happen. Life will continue to happen. So what you put out in this world while you're here, always remember, is exactly what you're going to be receiving back. What you're putting out, it's exactly what you're going to receive. And if you don't receive this, you don't want a loved one to receive it in the future. Not only should you be preparing yourself for the suffering, for any event in your life, but know how to teach, communicate with your loved ones, with all the lessons and knowledge that you've been gaining from your life alone. So they are aware when these events take place in their life, or any other event that you've never gone through, at least they'll have some type of idea of what's going on and how they're going to react, how they're going to behave, and how they're going to respond to it. Jihad said, how you react during suffering is a reflection of your understanding of God's grace, mercy, and sovereignty. It could always be worse. Gratitude. We spoke about it. We spoke about it a number of times. Gratitude. Because by practicing gratitude, it was going to help you cope, manage, and shifting your focus onto what's necessary to heal, break through, and not focusing on the problem where it's going to make it much worse, where you can fall into depression, anxiety, or a number of other conditions based on what you're feeling. No matter what you're feeling on any given day, look and think of yourself highly. Know that you're going to get through. Know that this is temporary. Know that this is not permanent. Know that this is not your final destination. Because you have a whole life ahead of you. You have a lot more situations ahead of you. And not that situations are always going to be bad, but you're always going to get bad ones. And that's where you're going to learn the most from. But you got to know that for as long as you're breathing, like I brought up a few episodes ago, there's going to be ups and downs. That's what life is all about. It's ups and downs. When you're up here, you'll remember what it felt like being all the way down here. And you will always appreciate both moments, no matter where you are, whatever point you are in your life. You never know. But you will always be grateful for, man, I remember when I felt good. I remember when I was at this point in my life and things were going great. But you know what? I don't belong down here. And let me make sure that if there's anyone down here, let me pull them right back up to where we belong. There's always going to be highs and lows. That's what life is all about. That's how we put value on everything that we receive in life. The person, the people we meet, the cars we end up driving, the homes we are eventually blessed with, the jobs that we eventually have, our gift, our purpose that we discover along the way. How are we able to discover any of these things or receive any of these things if we're not going through highs and lows? It's wisdom. It's where we also learn about and learn how to separate necessities from wants. It's the truth. It's when we learn more about us and others. A lot more. So I just want to go ahead and end by saying suffering is going to happen. It's going to happen. But know that you are capable. You have potential. You have what it takes to get through it. And best believe you're going to grow right through it. You're going to get right through it and you're going to grow through it. And eventually the person that you become after getting through that obstacle is going to be your reward. That's going to be your reward. And then what you do moving forward, it's what's going to tell you your purpose, who you are. And there's going to be people coming your way to seek help, to ask. They're going to want answers. Leave no one behind. Leave no one behind. Help others heal, no matter what. Help others heal is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Big bro, I'll go ahead and pass it on to you.
No, it was a great opening, little bro. Absolutely great opening. And there's a lot of things that you hit on that definitely I want to go ahead and touch on here. You know, one of the areas that you touched upon was really, that it kind of captured my attention was, you know, when we're talking about how you deal with it, right? How you deal with the issues, how you deal with the suffering and all that other stuff. Part of that is, and that's the beauty of coming to know Christ, that's the beauty of having the relationship with him, is that that allows you to be transformed. And a lot of the things that you talked about when you mentioned about, not, about going and helping others heal, right? That goes hand in hand with something that we talked about, I think maybe a week or two ago, where we go through what we go through because we get to see God comfort us, and then we get to essentially be the ones to go out there and comfort others, right? So in other words, I go through it. I go through all the issues that I go through, and ultimately that's going to help to allow me to go ahead and comfort someone else, right, in the future. Which, as I've shared, that's happened to me numerous times, where situations that we never thought, where we never understood why we went through them. Later on in the future, it became a thing of like, oh, now this makes sense why. And we were there to comfort others who were going through the same situation. So God allows these things. Again, I always want to stress this. These bad things are not coming from the Lord, but the Lord allows for them, right? And it's always with a plan and a purpose, and it's always for good. And not good in what you believe, but good according to his purpose for you, which is always good and is always going to be good and pleasing, right? At some point, you're going to get to see it. And that's why we have it. We're going and helping to console others. We're going and helping to comfort others in the same way that God comforted us. But like you said, some people look at this the opposite way, and they're like, well, how can I make myself feel good? And like you said, sometimes they might go to a substance. Sometimes they might, they might take it out on somebody else. Sometimes they might do bad to somebody else. And all that stuff is like, that right there will show you that you haven't been transformed. Because when you're walking in Christ, and if you're not doing it, I'm telling you, there's nothing better than going ahead and doing it. Because once you start to see like, hey, he's sustaining me, he's doing this, it doesn't mean that everything's good, but these are the things that are happening. And even still, like, I'm still standing, I'm still going through this. I can see that I haven't been left. It might not be an ideal situation. When you do that, it helps not just to build up for helping somebody else in the future, but it also builds up in your faith. In fact, some people believe like, oh no, well, maybe you can't increase your faith, but no, the word itself says that you can. There's instances, for example, there's an instance in Second Thessalonians where it's written that, your faith is growing abundantly, where that letter that's written is talking to those people in that church about how their faith is growing abundantly. So your faith is not just supposed to stay like, okay, I gave Joaquin this amount of faith and that's it. It never grows. No, it grows, and it will grow abundantly. But how does it grow abundantly? It grows abundantly as you go through things and you see like, I'm still walking in faith and God continues to show me that he's got me. Kind of like we've talked about before, the analogy in the gym. If you go to the gym, you might not think that you can. Let's say maybe you're trying 25-pound weights and you're struggling and you can only do a few, and maybe you can't do any at all. So you go down to 15 pounds, you know what I'm saying? But as you continue the repetition, as your muscle grows, you're able to do more later, right? Increase of your strength. It's the same way when you start to go through it. The thing is that we're all, as the word says, we all have a measure of faith, okay? We're all given a measure of faith, right? In fact, the word itself says that we're standing strong, be careful not to fall. Temptations in your life are no different from what others experience, and God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than what you can stand. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, you've got a measure of faith. You do. And God always makes it so that the situation that he allows is never more than what you can stand and never more than the faith that you have. And you're going to get through it. But when you get through it, that's going to increase it, because let's just talk about it this way. If you had, let's just say you have a health scare, right? And God sees you through that health scare. The next time you have that health scare, you're going to be like, you know what? God got me through it. If it was identical, right? You're not as worried anymore because you already got through it. But if it's a bigger health scare or a bigger financial issue or a bigger relationship issue, or you're going for a bigger blessing and a bigger job, or whatever it is that he's calling you to do, if he did something before, you're already going to feel like he can do it again. And even though this seems like another giant, you're going to be like, okay, he took care of me before, so I can walk toward that, and I believe he's going to do it. You might not have that love, that degree of certainty, right? But your measure was bigger than it was before because he already got you through something before. So all of that helps for you to grow abundantly in your faith, right? And that's important because that helps to lift you up, and it's going to also help you to lift others up. Because if I've been through something that to me was bigger, even though, like the word says, you know, we're all going through something, right? Like you said, we're all going through something, and it's a different battle for every different person. What was a major thing for me, when I see what you're going through, I might be like, that's not that big because I've been through bigger. The only thing is, I can't be condescending to you and be like, oh, why are you crying about it? This is so easy. No, because this is your struggle, you know, this is your issue. But that measure of faith that I have should be enough for me to come and be like, yo, Jay, we're going to get through it. You're going to push through this. You're going to see, you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happens. And the sufferings that you go through and the things that we go through, you know, Christ himself said, you're going to have trials. You're going to have sorrows. These things that you're going to go through, you're going to go through them. But take heart. So because I have overcome the world, we're going to come back to that in just a second. But it's important for you to understand that you're going to go through what you are going to go through. It has to happen, right? Jesus never said, oh, you're not going to go through anything. Stop crying about it. Like you're being so sensitive. Oh, why are you being a crybaby? No, he never said that. He said, yo, listen, you're going to go through your trials. You're going to go through these sorrows. It's for a reason. Okay, I want you guys to understand. It's for a reason. Now, fast forward a little bit. I'm going to read to you guys something in Romans. I'm going to dissect a few different points because I think this goes hand in hand with a lot of the things that you touched upon, Jay. So first, you have Romans. I'm going to read 1 through 4. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all that He has done for you. What is that called? That is called gratitude. Okay? It's like, I realize all the things that He's done for me, so I'm going to give myself to Him. Okay? Now, this is important, and I'm going to touch upon that in just a second as to why. And it says, let them be a living and holy sacrifice that He will find acceptable. This is the way to truly worship Him. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So this is where I want to come into this with all encompassing, right? With something that's all encompassing. We need to understand that first of all, here comes the gratitude. Notice before he says anything about letting Him transform you, notice about before he says like, yo, you're going to learn His good will and you're going to see that it's good and pleasing and all that kind of stuff. He comes in, he says, I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you. Give your bodies to God for all that He has done for you. Sometimes when we're going through the issues, we don't think that He's done anything for us. And we very quickly forget all of the things that He's done. The fact that you're taking the breath that you're taking, that's a W right there. You got to win right there. The fact that you're probably not lacking food in most cases, that's a W right there. Because guess what? There's people on ventilators. They can't breathe. There's people with no food. They can't eat. You touched upon studio apartment. There's people that don't have a house. In fact, I'm going to go a step further. You can be like, no, but maybe you can go to a shelter. No, there's certain people that get to the shelter and they're like, we don't have no more room. So they sleep outside, braving the elements. You see what I'm saying? Dealing with the cold, dealing with the wind, dealing with the heat, dealing with the rain, because they couldn't get to a shelter on time. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, before realizing all the things that you can complain about, come and realize everything that He's done for you and just be like, yo, I give myself to you, right? And then what happens is He starts to transform you. That's the thing that you need to understand. He needs to transform you. But before He even says that, He tells you, don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world. You know why? Just like Jay Mejia said, if my response is going to be, you know what? Let me hit this blunt real quick. How does that solve your problem? Let's be honest. Honestly. If you be like, yo, let me hit this bottle real quick. Yo, let me hit up this person real quick. You know? Let me hit up this person real quick so we can have sex, and because I'm going to relieve my stress that way. Let me hit the gym for 5 hours. Whatever you're doing to escape it, bro, it's not going to eliminate the problem. It's not. And the world will tell you, oh, go find a hobby. Go find somebody to spend time with. Oh, just go eat a whole tub of ice cream. Indulge in this and indulge in that. That does not fix your issue, ever. Those are the kinds of behaviors and the customs of this world that the Lord is saying in his word. Don't do that. Don't listen to what they're telling you. Instead, let me transform you into a new person and change the way that you think. Like Jael said, when she mentions, why am I suffering? Instead of asking that, to learn and say, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? Right? Or maybe even, Lord, why am I going through this? Like, show me the purpose in it, you can even say, right? Because sometimes it's going to be a teaching moment, and sometimes it's going to be something that he's going to use for something else. Allow him to see what, allow him to show you why. That's coming in and saying, yo, I don't understand it, but let me change my way of thinking and say, this has to be happening because of some reason. So show me what the reason is. And most of us don't do that. Most of us don't get to a point of saying, what is the reason? What is the reason? And when you start to change your way of thinking, that's where you start to see, he starts to reveal reasons. Listen, we don't just want to be believers. We don't just want to be Christians. I don't know about you, bro. I want to receive revelation as to what is going on. I don't want to be left in the dark. I want to be at a point where I can come back, I can sit back and be like, I see why. I see the reason. You know what I'm saying? And little bro, leading up to the first service that the Refiners Church had this weekend, these 3 weeks and change, some people would say, yo, that was hell. What was this? But you know what? In every single thing, little bro, and because we've talked about this. When I've been going through it, I'll be like, man, I can't believe that we're going through this. I can't believe all the stuff that's going on in these weeks. This is kind of ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it was always like, what would I constantly give you? I'm seeing the revelation as to why God is allowing for it. I'm not going to say every single one of the circumstances, but most of the circumstances, it became a thing of, I can see why. I can see why, because I've allowed myself to die to my own train of thought, my own way of thinking, and to come and say, God, show me, reveal to me, going into that prayer, as difficult as it is, where I don't feel like doing it, because it's like, man, you've been battered and bruised and shaken all over, and you're kind of like, why? And he gives you the revelation, and when you have that revelation, it gives you, like the word says, a peace that surpasses all understanding. That's where you want to get to, where you go through it and you're like, I'm at peace and I don't understand why, but I know God is doing something, and may God go and reveal something to me as to why. And that's what transforms others. It's not just you that grows in your faith. Others, there were people that were around me that got to see it, and their faith grew because they saw that when everything was going on, when I was in the eye of the storm, when my family was in the eye of the storm, they got to see that we were cool, calm, and collected. Like, what? And what? What else you want to throw? Throw it at me. I'm here. Let's go. Because we weren't afraid of it. Because we knew what was lifting itself up. We had it foreseen. God showed it to us, not the details, obviously, because getting the details, man, if we would have known that ahead of time, wouldn't have even stressed too much about it. But it was a thing of, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know what was going to happen and when and how. We didn't know those details. But when the stuff started to happen, we had peace. It didn't mean that we didn't have the trials. It didn't mean that we didn't have the sorrows. We had these things. But we had a peace that surpassed all understanding. And at the end of the day, all of this was good and pleasing and perfect. It's God's will, right? And because of that, Romans Romans 12, I'm going to read verse 3 and 4. Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give to each of you this warning. Don't think that you're better than you really are, which, again, like you mentioned, little bro, it can always be worse. Get on your high horse and think like, oh, I'm so great. Believe me, you can get knocked down a notch. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by what is that? By the faith God has given us. He gives you that measure of faith. He looks at that. You can evaluate yourself. In fact, look at the word evaluation. If you're evaluating yourself by your measure of faith, you can look and you can say, hold up, I'm not shaken by the stuff like I used to be before. You touched upon that too, little bro. I'm not stressing like I was before. If you want to see your growth, that's where you have your honest evaluation, and you're like, man, I'm chilling in the midst of this situation, and I'm realizing I'm not stressing like I was before. That gets to show that you're in Christ, that you're growing, that you're doing things, that he's working in you, that he's transforming you. And then it also says, and this is why we all go through a lot of different trials and tribulations. This is why we need to understand it. That's what God is revealing to me in this moment. Just as our bodies have many parts and each have a special function, so it is with Christ's body that we are many, that we are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. All the different parts of the body go through different strains. Your legs go through a different strain than your hands do. Your hands go through a different strain than your eyes do. Your shoulders go through a different strains than your forearms do. Every single, set of limbs, every single set of muscles in your body, they go through different strains. That's why when you go through, you get people that make fun. Hey, this dude skipped leg day. You know what I'm saying? Because all he did was work out his arms. But there are people that will tell you, do certain exercises on your forearms. That's going to get your forearms built. Do certain exercise on your arms. That's, on your upper arms. They're going to get, this right here is going to work whatever this section of your upper arm is. I'm not going to get into fancy, gym speak and all that stuff. I don't know anatomy like that. Don't quote me on anything. But I do know that all these different parts, like if you hit the exercise machine, I don't know if you've ever been to an exercise machine that they highlight those core muscles in red to show you that's the area that you're going to work out when you do this. There are certain people going through certain trials because they go through the financial trials so that when they see somebody that's going through financial issues, they can help them through their financial trials. There's people that go through it through their health, like Jael just mentioned. So when others are going through it in their health, they can be there for their health, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm saying? So it's important. We need to understand that. That's why God has us go through it. And this is where I'm going to end, little bro. Why does all of this happen? Why the transformation? Okay? John 16, I'm going to touch upon this. Christ talks about how he's going to leave. How he's going to leave for a little while, how we won't see him, how he's, how we're going to weep, how we're going to mourn, how we're going to go through trials and tribulations, how we're going to go through these labor pains like a woman, how we're going to go, how the women do. We're going to go through all these different things. But the most important key point in all of this is he says, you haven't done this before, right? He says, I tell you the truth, you will ask the Father directly. You're not going to need to ask me for anything. I tell you the truth, you're going to ask the Father directly, and he will grant your request because you will use my name. You haven't done this before. Ask using my name, you will receive, and you will have abundant joy. That is the key piece that's important. That's why we die to ourselves. That's why we walk the walk. That's why we go through our trials. That's why we go through all this. This is why we have our sorrow, because we need to get to a point in which we realize he's not here to handle it. But I go to the Father, which he's in the Father. I have the Holy Spirit in me, so I'm connected to them. And I come and I request using Jesus's name to the Father directly, which you probably haven't done. Most of you haven't done it. You need to get to a point in which I need to do it. And when you need to do it, when you finally get to that point that you're like, I'm going to step out in faith and see what this is really like to be like, yo, Lord God, please, I need this help. In Jesus' name, can you do this for me? Because I'm really struggling in this. I'm really struggling in my finances. I'm really struggling in this relationship that I have with my kids. I'm really struggling in my marriage with my spouse. I'm really struggling here at work. I'm really struggling with my health. You know what? Overall, I'm just really struggling. Lord God, my Father, in Jesus' name, can you help me? When you see that he actually comes to help, measure of faith. You get it abundantly. You had a measure of faith to come out there and ask, but you will start to see how he can give you in abundance. And that's what you need to get to. Because when he tells you that he's overcome the world, he's not just telling it to you for no reason. He's telling it to you because if you got the Holy Spirit in you, and you're going to the Father, and you're asking in Jesus' name, and all those three come together, you get to find out that if he was able to conquer these trials, if he was able to conquer these sorrows and all this other stuff, like he says, do you finally believe? We need to get to that moment where he asks, do you finally believe? And you come and you do these things and you see God show out. And in showing out, you're able to say, I overcame this. But I didn't overcome it myself. I couldn't overcome it myself. I overcame it because I came to the Father and was like, I can't. I just can't. So I'm coming to you. I'm asking in the name of Jesus. I'm believing that I can do it. Or rather, excuse me, I'm believing that you can do it. And I'm believing that it's going to be your good and perfect will to do it. I believe that you do want more for me. I do believe that you have plans and purpose. I do believe that everything's going to be pleasing and perfect according to your will for me. The word says your will for me. It's going to be pleasing and perfect. I believe that you want me to get to that point. And some of us need to get to that point, to get from point A to point B, not in our own effort, but through him. And where the word says, like, asking, like, you'll receive. You know what? A lot of us ain't even asking. And you need to ask yourself, why are you not asking? Be honest with yourself. Why are you not asking? What are you so afraid of? Because if you're not asking, it's most likely because of pride or fear. You either believe that you can do it yourself and you don't need him. Go on, boo-boo. Let's see how that goes for you. You can come back here next week, next month, whenever you want. Let us know how it went. Or you can drop the fear because he wants good things for you. There's not anything to be afraid of. And you can go to him and be like, I'm going to take you at your word. Help me. Because I can't. And I think a lot of us are at that point where it's like, I can't. I just can't. I can't anymore. Like I just can't. I'm worn out. I'm stressed. I can't sleep. He wants to do so much. When are you going to let him? Honestly. And I would say in this, bro, that you're going to go through trials and tribulations, yes. But maybe he doesn't want that to be suffering anymore. Maybe he wants you to get to a point in which you no longer call suffering. And I think that's a key piece here. Many of us are suffering. And let me tell you, when you're in the arms of the Father, when you're in the covering of the Father, you could be going through a storm, but you're not going to suffer through it. And a lot of us are suffering because we don't have a relationship with him. We're not allowing ourselves to be covered by him. He wants to. So if you find that you're looking at this as suffering, I want you to take some time. It could be right now. It could be this evening, maybe. Maybe just sit down and have some breakfast by yourself for a minute and just kind of meditate on it, you know? Whatever works for you. And if you feel like you've been suffering for a hot minute, maybe ask yourself, why am I looking at it as suffering and not looking at this as an opportunity? Because everything is an opportunity, really. At the end of the day, everything is an opportunity. And when you change your way of thinking and when you change your mindset, you can be in that storm. I'm going to, with this, I pass it back to you, give you a little bit of a laugh for those of y'all that remember. Little bro, you remember Forrest Gump, right? You remember Lieutenant Dan was in that storm, and there was Forrest dealing with all the stuff in the ship, right? In that boat, in that little tiny Jenny number whatever, right? I think it was the first one. But what was Lieutenant Dan doing? He's there screaming at the top of his lungs, "You'll never sink this boat." You know what I'm saying? The dude had such certainty, like nothing's gonna happen. You're never gonna sink this boat. Bro, we need to have that certainty. Instead of suffering through a storm, he went in there with confidence, supreme confidence that like nothing's going to happen. You're not sinking this boat. And some of y'all need to get into that peace, or into that peace of God. And I just realized why God gave me that analogy, because you have Christ in the boat with you, the same way that the disciples had moments where they were in storms and inside of a boat with Christ. You do too. And you know why? What's a word for a boat? I think Jael ended up using this. Another word for a boat is a vessel. What abides in the vessel? And you being the vessel? The Holy Spirit. You know what that means? The Holy Spirit is inside the vessel. The Holy Spirit is inside the boat. Jesus is inside the boat. So why are you worried about the storm? Why are you suffering through the storm? When you're with the one who can calm the storm. You're with the one who's taking care of it all. And with that, I'll leave it to you, little bro.
Today's topic was major. I felt it in me this week. Felt it for like a few weeks now, right? But this week was like more of focusing on that, because not only did we speak on the current season that we're all in right now, we see what's happening in the economy, we see what's happening in most lives, right? Even ourselves. And more of these discussions is what's going to help us maintain, right, our sanity, maintain our focus while we're actually getting through this huge storm that we're currently in right now. But we have a bigger one that's ahead, right? So it's going to be like a storm, then comes calm, and then there's going to be another storm, and rinse and repeat. That's what's going to be happening moving forward. Aside from whatever we have going on in our own lives, right? Whatever you have going on, Pastor Carlos, whatever I got going on, whatever Jael got going on, whatever Jessica, everyone who's watching us, we're all in different situations, but we're here to help each other maintain the strength that we need, right? Maintain the methods, right? Making sure that we remind ourselves to pray, making sure that we remind ourselves that this is not our final destination, that we will get through, that we're gonna push through, because we will. It's just having these conversations. Now, think about having the situation that you're in, but you're constantly speaking with someone that's really not helping you in any way. They're not helping you in terms of changing your perspective, right? Your mindset, helping you assist in multiple ways, and just having like conversations that shouldn't be taking place right now, right? Because your mental health is not on point, or emotionally or spiritually, right? What you need is more of this, more of inspiration, more motivation, more positivity in general, because we are in a very, very dangerous season. We have to be very, careful with our decision making, especially with our expenses, right? We don't want any unchosen and chosen suffering to affect us, to affect our home, to affect us internally, because it's a lot that takes place. So what we can do is we can help each other. How can we do that? Let's help make each other feel good. Let me go ahead and call this person to check up on them, see how they're doing. Hey, what's up? How you feeling? Let's not gossip. Let's talk about making sure that you're okay mentally and emotionally. Start off by that. You don't have to be open about your finance, right? But the right people will know. The right people will, you know, either get that feeling or they'll receive whatever it is that you're feeling, that trust. And this way you can actually help each other maintain faith, helping each other staying connected with God, helping each other staying connected through prayer, helping each other stay afloat, right? Helping each other, making sure that no one sinks, that we all become swimmers, making sure that we constantly, whenever you see someone else's strength, at a minimum, that you're able to increase it, whether it's through a word, whether it's reaching out, whatever that is. Just got to keep helping each other. It's the only way to make it through. We see everything that's happening on social media. We see everything that's happening in this world. The people pretending. There's people. I mean, we're living in tough times, but clubs are still packed, right? So you have the people that could care less about what's happening, or the people that really got it, right? But our thing is not determining who got it and who don't. Our thing is to staying focused and not letting ourselves fall in that trap, not letting ourselves feel so low because you're unable to do that, or you were unable to do what you've been able to do for the past few years. Now you're in sacrifice mode. Now you're in survival mode. You're actually doing the right thing. And even if that wasn't the case, you should always protect you. You should always protect your money. You should always protect your loved ones. You should always protect your household. You should, only because you got it doesn't mean I got it to splurge. No, you got to be thankful, practice gratitude, and man, I got to value what I got. But you know what? That doesn't mean let me go ahead and spend it. Wild spending. Let me go ahead and spend it on stuff that I really don't need, on wants. No, be grateful for.
When God said, "Let tomorrow worry for itself," and to focus on today, He didn't mean go spend all your money like you ain't gonna have a future. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's reasons why He allows you. He asks you to store, and He's given different instances in which He's asked people to store up. To make sure to save, to be wise with those things. There's instances of that. So some people will take it to the extreme and be like, oh, that means let me spend everything right now. And they believe it's like, oh, let me go get bottle service at the club. Good luck with that. That ain't the move, believe me.
What's the whole point? A lot of people should have been learning, especially from the pandemic. All those stimulus checks, unemployment, people who lost their jobs and they decided to get on unemployment. Now they felt like, wait, I'm getting $1,000 a week. Let me go ahead and just spend this money because I'm going to get another 1,000 next week. And that means that I'm going to get another 7,000 in the next few weeks. I'm going to get 4,000 monthly, right? Or if
Go ask most of them where their stimmy check is at now.
Yeah, where's the stimmy check, the unemployment checks, and what they had to go through now to find a job because they decided to let go of one because they were thinking short term and not long term. Now, it's okay. Whatever decision was made, we have to respect it. You wouldn't know why you did it. Maybe you weren't happy at the job, but the decision you were making when you left that job, right? And it was much better for you to stay home, whatever the case was. What have you been doing? What were you doing in that moment? And what have you been doing ever since? You know what I mean? I remember I got, since easily I can say, man, I haven't even gotten rest. Because if you think about it, pre-pandemic, you remember, big bro, at the time I was going to school and work. But then during the pandemic, I was just grinding all day because I didn't know what was going to happen the next day. I just didn't know. So it has been nonstop. It has been nonstop. But the whole point is whatever you're past is and whatever you've gone through, whatever it is that you're currently going through, you're going to learn from your past. You're going to learn from your current situation. You're going to learn moving forward. But the wiser you become, the better decisions you start to make. But don't keep any of this to yourself. Continue to work on you. Continue to work on others. Continue to heal. Continue to help others heal. Continue to grow. Continue to learn. Help others grow. Help others learn. You see the pattern there. Anything that you're currently in, make sure that you bring the next person in. Put the next person on. Is what we're basically doing on our platform. Baby Ramin, correct me if I'm wrong. What we're doing is we're taking our time out. This is our purpose. You know, we're not getting paid for this. We're not selling a course, right? We're not obligating you to make donations. Notice how we rarely mention it, right? We should be mentioning it every episode. But if that was really our intention, we would have been mentioning it every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. But that's not our intent. We are here to really help. This is our purpose. Glory to God that we're able to give a message. That we're able to have these devices to being able to connect. That we're able to express ourselves, to speak. That we're able to deal with everything that we got going on in our life and still being able to provide the message no matter what we're feeling, no matter what we got going on inside or outside of us. We're still willing to connect. We're still willing to give that great message. We're still willing to receive those DMs, direct messages, those emails, those text messages, phone calls if you need that. We're still willing to do that. Why? Because we know what pain is. We know what suffering is. We know what it is to go through. We know what it is to go through and feel ashamed. We know what it is to feel fear. We know what it is to not having the people around us to go to, but we know what it is to feel like you don't have anyone, when in reality you have more than one person to go to. That can be in your family, that can be in your circle, that can be the resources that you can look up on Google. That can be so much you can actually do. There's a lot, but you got to be willing to go about it. You got to be willing to face it. Be willing to face it. There's not going to be any handouts. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door like, hey, I got the solution for you. Or, hey, I got this job for you. Or, hey, I think I got the way. No, it's by you meeting people. It's by you discussing, having these discussions. It's about the conversations that you're having on a daily basis. It's about who you're connecting with. Who are you connecting with on a daily basis? Who are you connecting with? First off, the man above. Start with that prayer. But who are you connecting with outside of that? Who are you bringing into your situation? Who are you bringing into your ideas? Who are you brainstorming with? Who are you making a list of to do? Who are you discussing your vision board with? Because there's a lot of
Yes, I mean, some of y'all got some of you guys are brainstorming and making vision boards and guidance and everything with the enemy. You got no idea who it is, and then you wonder why things ain't turning out right. It's the truth. I'm not saying it to be mean. It's the truth.
And again, admit and accept. You may feel like life is unfair, and it is going to be many times, but that doesn't mean to give up. That doesn't mean to just give in. That doesn't mean to settle for less. That doesn't mean to just settle for whatever comes your way. That doesn't mean that. That means to stay focused. Stay focused. Guard your focus. Don't let no distractions get in the way. Don't let nobody get in your way. Nobody. That means family, best friend, no one. And start removing yourself from places, from environments where you don't belong. Where you don't belong because of the influences that are there and you see, or because it's just going to take you down the wrong and dark path. Some of y'all don't even belong where you currently live right now. So what are you doing to change that? But not only for you, what about your children? What about your kids? What are you doing to break that generational curse? What are you doing to break that chain that you're locked in right now, that mental prison? What are you doing? What are you doing to do that? What are the small steps that you're taking to that solution or that goal or those results that you're seeking, that you're looking forward to? What are you doing? Because thinking about it, just thinking about it's not going to happen. Putting it out in the universe, it's not going to happen that way. You got to put it out. But what are you doing to get through it, to get there, to get to that point? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're thinking that you're going to bring thoughts to life by just thinking? No, in order for you to bring thoughts to life, you got to think of it, obviously, but you got to take action. And there's going to be a lot of suffering in that process because for some people, it may seem easy. Some people, they were born with those opportunities, or they were born into network of those opportunities that you're seeking that you have no connection with, but you're working your way through to get a connection to then eventually get in. It's a different process for all of us. We're nice, right? We're loving, we're caring. People should be telling us like, hey, you should sit down with us and maybe, let's see what's on your mind. Like, I love what I'm watching. I love the things you guys discuss. Why don't you come on my show? Or why don't we do this? No, we have to go out there and look for these opportunities. We have to send the email. We have to put ourselves in these events in order to make that happen.
Yep. Just to add to that, little bro, there are some things that just come, and there's others where you have to act. And I want you guys to understand that that's something that even the Lord Himself went ahead and did. If you go to the very, very beginning of the Bible, if you go to Genesis itself, it says God said, "Let there be light." Notice that there was an action. He said to let there be, and then there was. But if you look right afterwards, it says He separated the light from the darkness, and He called it day and night. What did He do? He separated it. He didn't just say, "Oh, separate." He knew that there was something that He, even being God, there was something that He had to do. Go ahead. He separated it Himself. He did it. You know what I'm saying? He goes, "Let there be space between the waters," and that's what happened. He made the space. It says God made this space to separate the waters, to separate the water from waters of earth from the waters of heaven. He called the space sky. You know what I'm saying? And if you continue to go down the list, when he goes and he says, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate day from night," the word says itself. God set these lights to the sky. He did it. Like, He set them. You know what I'm saying? So there was the talk, and there was the action as well. In many cases, He didn't just think to Himself and being God. He can. You know what I'm saying? But it's setting the example, right? He didn't just think to Himself, there should be sky there. There should be light here. He spoke it out. He did it. You know what I'm saying? He did something. There was an action behind it. It wasn't just, "Oh, let me sit here and just think about it, and that's it." And some of y'all be acting like, if I just sit here and do nothing and just think about it, that it's all just going to happen. No, He wants you to act. He Himself took action. He Himself spoke the things out. Some of us don't speak anything out. Some of us much less do anything. We have to start doing things. Stop sitting there thinking it's just going to happen. He wants action. Doing the action sometimes is what shows the effort that you have faith that He's going to fulfill in you doing the action as well. And some people don't do anything, and you might be that person that if you feel that that's you, that's God giving you conviction today. Yo, you've been sitting on your behind a little bit, not doing anything, not doing what I'm calling you to do. Let's get it pushing. Like, I need you to do something. And believe me, He'll make a way. He will make a way.
Big time. If there's anything that anyone wants to go ahead and add or join the live or anything you want to keep anonymous, you have the option on the bottom right corner, bubble with the question mark. Anything you want to go ahead and say publicly, but you don't want to get on the live, drop it in the chat. Please make sure to check out the links in my bio. The links in my bio. Make sure to check that out. Don't forget, we do upload the weekly live. We have the weekly live on my profile. And when you click on the weekly live, whenever you see, for example, next week is episode 68, you click on episode 68, you'll get notified 2 days before, the day before, and the day of. We are on every week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Appreciate everyone who connects with us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Really appreciate you all. Don't forget, Pastor Carlos, you have the service this Sunday, right? You have it every Sunday now.
Well, right now we're doing every 2 Sundays just for a very short period of time, and then it's going to be every Sunday. So I'm not sure exactly when we go weekly. I do know we are doing every 2 weeks for right now, but I was talking with my team about it yesterday. I think the Lord's going to be calling us to go weekly sooner rather than later.
Sounds good.
But I just want to give thanks to everybody who was praying after the announcement last week. It was a success. I mean, God's the one that called it. I knew it was going to be a success because he's the one calling to do it, so not my measure of success, not the world's measure of success, but his measure of success. And I'm good with that. I'm completely good with that. So yeah, thank you all who were praying and hoping to see, as y'all are in Houston, we're hoping to see you guys join us here, in the coming weeks and months. So
big shout out church. For real.
Yeah, big Refiners Church, man. Refiners Church. I do see a few comments here in the chat. Mejia de la Rosa, praise him in the middle of the storm. Pray without ceasing. And also cover your brothers and sisters in prayer. Be kind to everyone. Amen. Absolutely.
Amen.
On this end, I'm clear on those messages. That was all we had for today.
I don't think there's any more, right?
Yeah, not on this end.
Yeah, and I had to pin Jael's comment there. Instead of asking, why am I suffering? I've learned to ask, Lord, what are you trying to teach me?
Yep, absolutely. That's what happens when you have transformation, just like I shared earlier.
That's it.
100%.
Man, I feel like today we went straight to it. Really appreciate everyone who joined us today, who joins us on a weekly basis. Appreciate that. Really appreciate you all.
Really.
That you do have the option to purchase a badge which supports the platform. Again, you're not obligated, but it's always welcome. Just wanted to put that out there. There's a link on my bio as well if you want to make a donation. I have a link for the clothing brand, Tu Me Entiendes. Make sure you go ahead and check that out. And moving forward, there's going to be great things coming. I noticed you got the shirt on, man. So big shout outs to that. I appreciate the love, the support, bro. Really appreciate it. So check that out. We do have our YouTube channel in the link in my bio. Our YouTube channel where you'll find all the episodes. So every single live, as soon as it ends, it's uploaded to YouTube. Make sure you check that out. I have my YouTube channel. I have the emailing list for our platform, the text messaging list. Drop your information for any updates in the future. As you can see, if you've already put your email and number and you haven't received any messages, there hasn't been any update. So it's not going to be any spam that you're going to receiving any deals or any courses. You're just going to be receiving any updates that has to do with the platform, right? Whenever we transition over to YouTube or any changes that take place in the future, to be general about it. So make sure you drop your information. That way we can stay connected for sure. I do have the solution-based community on a daily or every few days. I'll go ahead and drop a message there. Just, check up on everyone. Make sure they receive a great positive message just to keep you going, which is something that we need to keep us moving on a daily basis. You know what I mean? With the way life is going, with the things that, come up in life and what happens in general, the best thing you can do is receive a message that not only will it uplift you, but it's going to make you feel so good that you're not even thinking about your problem, right? Or it'll minimize your stress at some point of in your day. But the point is to keep you going, because we're not taking it. We're not taking anyone giving up. We're not going to do that. And if you ever feel like giving up on you or giving up on anything, you better send a direct message to myself or Pastor Carlos, and we'll be more than happy to respond, to have that discussion. If you're feeling so low down, whatever it is, we're here to help, because you are capable of doing whatever your mind, whatever you have in mind, whatever it is that you have in your vision, whatever it is that you have in your plans, you are capable of doing it. Maybe you just need the right person to tell you something, to have that conversation, to remind you who you are, how amazing you are, how valuable you are, despite of your past, despite of your current situation. Moving forward is going to be a different and better situation. That's what we're always going to remind you on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly, and we're here to stay because we've been going at it nonstop. Episode 67. We will be having episode 68. Please make sure not to miss out. Before we disconnect, I also want to remind you have the option on the bottom right corner, the paper plane, to send our live via DM. Or if you go on my profile or Pastor Carlos's profile, you have the option to paper plane it over to a friend, a family, an associate, someone that's in need or that you think is in need. And even if you don't even know, just send it to random people, because you know what the live is about. So you know this person can use a great message, or this person may be going through it. Let me go ahead and put them onto a great message. Share it. You can also share the link in I'm sorry. So you're able to send it via Instagram to the DM, via text messaging now, and email. But you also have the link on YouTube. On YouTube, you're able to send it out to whomever through WhatsApp, through text, email, and that person that's going to go ahead and open that link is not required to have a profile on YouTube, which is even better. Instagram, that person does need a username. They need to have access to Instagram, but for YouTube, they don't. So go ahead and share, send it out, or grab a clip, of a message that you loved in a specific episode and go ahead and send it out, post it on your page, whatever you can do to support us. That's what we really ask. That's what we would really love from you all. If you can share it, you're going to save someone else's life. You're going to improve someone else's life, help someone else get uplifted and feel good about themselves. So once again, thanks again for connecting with us for episode 67. Don't forget, we will be on for episode 68. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Big bro, anything you want to go ahead and say before we disconnect?
Nah, bro. Again, thank you for those of y'all that were praying for Refiners Church. We appreciate that. I'll be sending out, or I'll be putting out some posts here in the near future, just more ways that Refiners Church and you can connect. We want to be that resource for you during the week. Like you said, we're not looking for anything in return, we're just here to be there for you, to help you strengthen that relationship with Christ, and to help you in those moments when you're struggling and everything like that. That we want to help to uplift you, build you up. And that way you can also kind of keep in the loop with whenever we get to the point of, allowing you guys to see our services live. It's not right now in this set point. We could if we wanted to, but we know that right now is not the time. We're setting the foundation first with the people that we have here in person. And soon enough, y'all be able to receive those messages and everything like that as well, and connect with us online. So if you're not in the Houston area, if you're in the Houston area, we're welcoming you in. And if you're not in the Houston area, we're going to have a way for you to be able to watch us live, every Sunday and whenever we do little things. So, but in the meantime, Refiners Church is there whenever you need prayer, whenever you need help, whenever you need guidance. Just reach out. We'll be there.
And don't forget to make, big bro, like any donations that they can make to the church, legit. The ways they can make.
Yeah, all that's coming soon within the next couple of weeks. We'll be sharing all of that with everybody. We want to make sure everything's, we cross all our T's, dot all our I's and everything like that, and be ready so that you guys know that everything is 100% legit.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So everyone, thank you once again for connecting with us. We will be seeing you next week. Don't forget, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Central and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, West Coast. Hope everyone has a great night. Bless. And don't forget, patience is a virtue and faith is the substance. See you all. Take care. Have a good night.
God bless you guys.